I knew I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving the second I opened the group chat and saw the words, "Let's keep things peaceful this year," which is family speak for, "We voted you off the island." No direct confrontation. No real explanation. Just passive-aggressive phrases like, "It's better for everyone," and "You always make things tense." Apparently, having boundaries now qualifies as ruining the vibe. Let me rewind for context. I'm 27, single, childless, and the oldest of 3. I run a moderately successful online retail company I built from the ground up. Nothing flashy, but it pays the bills and then some. My younger brother Danny is the golden boy. Community college dropout turned part-time vape shop philosopher. He once tried to sell me on his business idea called Airbnb but for boats, even though he doesn't own a boat or a brain cell. My younger sister, Cassie, is Instagram famous for being a wellness witch. Her brand is mostly crystals, pastel filters, and vague affirmations like, "You are the storm, not the ship." She lives with my parents rent-free in what used to be my bedroom. Why am I the black sheep? Because I once asked Dad to stop calling my anxiety a phase, and because I refused to loan Danny $5,000 for crypto. That apparently made me too intense. So yeah, I wasn't surprised when my invite to Thanksgiving got lost in the mail. But what did surprise me came the next morning. I stepped outside to get some air and noticed my driveway was empty. No tire marks. No broken glass. Just empty asphalt. My car, a graphite gray Lexus NX, was gone. Now, this isn't just any car. This car is leased under my business account. It's technically a fleet vehicle with a tracker, full commercial insurance, and enough paperwork behind it to make the IRS sweat. At first, I thought maybe it got towed. But I live in a gated community with no street parking restrictions. Then I thought maybe it was stolen by a stranger, until I got a text from my mom. "Hey sweetie, hope you're well. If you're still working today, maybe don't stress about not coming to Thanksgiving. We'll send you pics." Then another, 5 minutes later. From Danny. "Yo, don't freak out, but we borrowed the Lexus. Dad's idea. We figured you wouldn't mind. You're always too busy to drive it anyway, lol." I read that text 3 times before I could feel my face again. They borrowed my car? No. No, they didn't. They stole it. Because when I checked the GPS app that comes with the commercial lease, it showed my car's location, parked in my parents' driveway. Battery on. Engine recently started. And the final gut punch? A notification from the leasing company. Title transfer application initiated. That's when I saw red. They forged documents to try and transfer ownership of my company car. Behind my back. While ghosting me for Thanksgiving because I'm awkward. That's not just betrayal. That's fraud. I called my dad. He answered on the 3rd ring, voice chipper like he wasn't actively committing a felony. "Hey kiddo. Long time no chat. We were just... Where's my car?" I asked, voice flat. There was a pause. Then a fake laugh. "Oh, that? Look, we figured you'd be busy. You're always so work-focused. We thought you wouldn't even notice. It's not like you need it today." "I own that car, Dad." "Well, technically you lease it. Which is a waste of money, honestly. You could have just... You forged a title transfer. Do you understand how illegal that is?" He scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. We were gonna bring it back. It's family, not Grand Theft Auto." That's when I said the line I had been waiting to use since I was 17, and he told me my depression was a choice. "You just stole from the wrong person." And I hung up. Then I did exactly what they never expected me to do. I called the police. But not just local PD. I also called my leasing company's fraud protection line. Within 15 minutes, I had a claim open, a case file, and an investigator named Gwen who sounded like she took zero BS. She asked one question. "Do you want them charged?" And for once in my life, I didn't hesitate. "Yes." The tracker showed my car hadn't moved since the night before. Still parked at my parents' house. Still running. They were using my car to haul groceries for a dinner they didn't invite me to. So I told Gwen, let's ruin their appetite. The cop's knock came right after the first slice of turkey was carved. I didn't get to see it live, but I have a vivid imagination and a very cooperative GPS tracker. According to the leasing company's tracking log, the Lexus had arrived at my parents' house the night before. Parked. Never left. By noon, Gwen, my leasing rep turned personal angel of justice, had dispatched a recovery agent and filed a formal police report with all documentation, including GPS logs, title forgery alerts, and photo evidence of the car on site. But the cherry on top? Gwen made sure the responding officers understood this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was corporate property theft. The only reason I wasn't there in person was because Gwen said, "You'll want to stay clean on this one. Let the paper trail speak." So I did. I waited. I watched. I refreshed the app. 1:03 p.m., engine status off. 1:07 p.m., a slight shake in GPS signal. 1:09 p.m., new location pin appeared, and route to impound lot. That meant only one thing: they had the car. And my phone started lighting up like a Christmas tree set on fire. First came the call from Cassie. I let it go to voicemail. She didn't leave one. Just texted. "What did you do? There are cops here." Cops. Then from Mom. "Amber, honey, please call me. They're taking the car. What is going on?" And finally, the big one. Dad. He left a voicemail. I played it on speaker just to hear the desperation bounce off the walls. "Amber, this is ridiculous. You sent the cops to our house? On Thanksgiving? You could have just talked to us. This is embarrassing." "Oh, now it's embarrassing. Not when you cut me out of the holiday I helped pay for 5 years. Not when you tried to steal a vehicle registered to my company. Not when you forged a transfer request like amateurs. Now it's embarrassing." What really sealed the deal, though, came later that evening when Gwen emailed me the incident report summary. Nothing too detailed, but enough to show the officers found the car, confirmed the complaint, and documented. Disputed ownership with forged documentation provided by the father, currently under investigation. Oh. So now there's a case number. They didn't get arrested, yet. But Gwen made it clear. This is round one. We're preparing a formal legal response for attempted title fraud. You'll have options. Options. That word gave me life. Meanwhile, Thanksgiving continued without me. Or so I assumed. But then I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo. Of my dad. Standing on the front porch. Hands on his hips. And a cop in the background, holding up a clipboard, face clearly over it. "Your dad asked if this was a prank." Then the officer handed him the recovery order. No name. Just that message. I stared at the photo for a long time. I don't know who sent it. Maybe a neighbor. Maybe a relative who'd had enough of the family circus. Maybe the cop themselves. I didn't ask. Didn't need to. Because that one image said everything. The power dynamic had flipped. And this time, I wasn't the one being told to calm down, or keep the peace. That night, I finally responded to the group chat. The same one they used to plan Thanksgiving without me. "Hope dinner was great. By the way, next time you try to steal my company's property, maybe don't park it in your own driveway. Love, the awkward one." Then I left the chat. This time for good. It took exactly 36 hours for my parents to switch from panic to guilt-tripping. On Friday morning, my mom called 5 times in a row. I didn't answer. The 6th time, she left a voicemail that started like a hostage negotiation and ended like a soap opera. "Amber, sweetie, we just didn't think it was a big deal. Your father thought you were too busy to even notice. Why would you go to the police? That's your family you're doing this to." Right. The same family that uninvited me to Thanksgiving because I make things tense. then tried to commit felony title fraud and act like it was a casual weekend errand. I didn't respond. That's when Dad sent a group message to me and Cassie. Dad, let's not let this get out of control. The police said you can drop the charges if you want. Let's just sit down and talk. Cassie, Amber, come on. It's not like we crashed the car. You got it back. Can we please just fix this before lawyers get involved? They didn't realize something very important. Lawyers were already involved. Gwen wasn't playing around. The leasing company had launched a full internal review. They flagged the attempted transfer, looped in legal counsel, and reached out to me directly with a question that made me sit up straighter in my desk chair. Would you like to authorize us to pursue damages and recover legal fees from the parties involved? Yes. Yes, I would. Because here's the thing, they didn't just borrow a car. They attempted to forge ownership on a vehicle that wasn't theirs, tied to a corporate fleet, with digital tracking, legal protections, and a paper trail that screams we're idiots in 4K resolution. And they did it after cutting me off emotionally, socially, and then financially. They weren't sorry. They were cornered. So I called a lawyer. My own this time. Maya Campos, recommended by a friend. Tough, sharp, and immediately angry on my behalf. They tried to transfer title with forged documents, she asked, scrolling through the email printouts I brought her. Amber, that's not just dumb. That's criminal. She offered to draft a cease and desist letter with a civil liability warning. Not just for the fraud, but for the public defamation attempts I knew were coming. Maya said something I'll never forget. People like this don't apologize. They pivot to the sympathy angle. But once we go legal, they don't get to spin the story. You control it now. Control. I hadn't felt that word in years. That weekend, while my family posted pictures of pumpkin pie and blurry group selfies pretending nothing had happened, I sent them a formal letter via Maya's office. It outlined the attempted fraud, the use of corporate property without authorization, the recovery of said property through lawful means, a clear demand, no further contact unless it was through legal counsel. The letter arrived Monday morning. By Tuesday night, Danny posted a vague Instagram story with black and white text over moody music. Betrayal by blood hits different. Face with rolling eyes. Then Cassie posted some sad face selfie captioned, "Pray for peace in families, please, broken heart." Peace. Please. These people locked me out of my own house for Christmas once because Cassie needed space to spiritually recharge. Now they wanted a truce? I hadn't even hit them with the full legal fire yet. Just a warning shot. But it worked. They stopped texting. Stopped calling. Stopped pretending this was a misunderstanding. Because now, it was real. This wasn't awkward family tension. This was a legal case file. I thought it would end with the cease and desist. But then Maya called me with a voice like she just opened Pandora's glove box. "They forged your signature on the DMV form," she said. Badly. I blinked. Like forged? Like traced it from your old driver's license and spelled your last name wrong. I almost laughed. I shouldn't have, but I did. Apparently, my father went to the DMV with a printed copy of a signed title transfer form. The problem? My lease agreement explicitly states only the business's authorized officer can file that paperwork, meaning me. Not only that, but my name on the forged signature said, Amber L. Carters. With an S. My legal name is Carter. No S. It's been that way since birth. He literally added a letter and tried to pass it off to a government office. The DMV clerk flagged it immediately and filed an internal fraud alert. That alert? It was how Gwen at the leasing company caught wind of it in the first place. I didn't even know about the signature error. Gwen told me later, until the DMV forwarded us the fraud report. Turns out, not only did my dad commit fraud, he did it sloppily, in front of a public official, and left a paper trail so obvious even a half-asleep intern could follow it. And now, that trail led to one very real possibility. Charges. Maya asked if I was ready for that. If this goes further, she warned, there's a chance we're looking at criminal liability, not just civil. I thought about it for maybe 3 seconds. They excluded me, lied to me, mocked me, and when they realized they couldn't control me anymore, they tried to steal from me. So yeah, I was ready. That week, Maya contacted the DA's office with the DMV report, Gwen's documentation, and the GPS data. She also added the text messages from Danny and my dad, confirming they took the car for the weekend. And then, just like that, it became real. An investigator from the county called Maya's office. Wanted to schedule interviews. Asked for copies of all documents and communications. You might get subpoenaed to testify. Maya warned me. I said, great. I'll wear my best awkward disappointment of the family outfit. Meanwhile, silence from my family. Not a single message. But I saw Cassie post on Instagram. Sometimes the loudest person in the room is just the most broken. Sending love to those who only know how to fight, not to feel. My sister thinks she's deep because she quotes Pinterest over pictures of lemon water. What she doesn't know. The real fight was about to begin, and I wasn't the one throwing punches anymore. That weekend, Gwen called with another update. We recovered security cam footage from the DMV. I sat up straight. Wait, really? Oh yes. Your father's entire visit was recorded. Including when the clerk questioned the paperwork and he tried to insist his daughter just doesn't handle this kind of stuff well. I closed my eyes and rubbed my temples. Did he really say that? Verbatim, she said. Also, he dropped the pen twice while trying to initial your signature. It's all on tape. That footage? It got added to the file. So now the case had signed lease docs under my business. GPS logs showing vehicle location. Texts admitting unauthorized use. A botched forged signature. DMV fraud report. Surveillance footage. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was a prosecution buffet. And all I had to do was sit back and let it serve itself. The subpoenas hit on a Tuesday. One for my dad. One for my brother. One for Cassie. It was almost poetic, like the universe scheduled delivery for maximum chaos. Maya called to confirm. All 3 are being subpoenaed for statements. It's not a trial yet, but the DA's office is building their case. They want to interview everyone involved on record. I'd expected my dad to double down. He always had that. Blame the system. Energy, like consequences, were something that only happened to poor people and strangers. But what I didn't expect. He turned on Danny first. 3 days later, Maya forwarded me an email sent by his attorney. It was a statement, clarifying that Danny was the one who had access to the vehicle, and that my dad was only assisting under the assumption that his son had permission. They were throwing Golden Boy under the bus. I almost dropped my coffee. Danny, who had been babied his whole life, suddenly became the sacrificial goat. I waited. I knew Danny wouldn't stay quiet for long. Sure enough, that night I got a text. WTF, Amber. I just got served. Dad's blaming me. Are you happy now? Oh, I wasn't happy. I was ecstatic. I didn't respond, but I did screenshot it and sent it to Maya, who replied with a simple, "They're cracking. This is good." Cracking was an understatement. Because the very next morning, Cassie, who had been relatively quiet through all this, sent me a full email. Yes. An actual email. Subject line, "Let's talk." And the body? A rambling, barely punctuated essay about how she was just the passenger. How she didn't know about the forged paperwork. How she only went along because Mom said it was fine. She even included a sentence that made me cackle out loud. "I'm a healer, not a criminal. Tell that to the DMV, Cass." I didn't reply. But I did print it. Because now I had documented proof that every single member of my family knew something, and not one of them had come clean until the cops got involved. This was no longer about a stolen car. This was about decades of entitlement crashing down all at once. The investigator set a date to interview me in person. Maya came with. It was straightforward. I laid out the timeline, the lease, the app logs, the emails, and the texts. I showed them the forged DMV form with the fake Carter's signature and Gwen's GPS report. The investigator nodded through most of it. Until the end, when he asked me one last thing. Do you believe your father understood what he was doing was illegal? I didn't hesitate. Yes. Absolutely. Why? Because he hid it, I said. If it was harmless, he wouldn't have waited until Thanksgiving to do it. He thought cutting me out meant I couldn't fight back. The investigator just nodded and closed his notebook. That's all we needed. The next day, I got a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. It was my mom. Her voice cracked, raw and tired. The kind of tone she used to save for when she'd had too much wine and wanted to pretend we were close. Amber, please don't let it go this far. We're family. You're hurting everyone. Just tell them it was a mistake. She paused. If this becomes a criminal case, your father could lose everything. Is that really what you want? I stared at the wall for a long time after I played that message. Then I texted Maya. Add this to the file. Because yes. That is what I want. The plea came in the form of a family group Zoom call. No warning. No context. Just a calendar invite from Cassie titled, Let's be civil. The emoji nearly sent me into orbit. I almost declined. But Maya advised. Join it. Record it. If they say anything incriminating, it's all evidence. So I joined. Muted. Camera off. And what I saw was glorious. Cassie in a soft focus filter with a Himalayan salt lamp behind her. Danny in his bedroom, hunched over a gaming chair. My parents on their couch, Dad stone-faced, Mom blinking like she just remembered she was on camera. Amber, Cassie began in her fake therapist's voice. We know you've been hurt. But we all have. This has torn the family apart. Danny cut in, already defensive. I didn't even want the stupid car, okay? Dad said it was fine. He said you weren't using it and that you'd overreact no matter what. Gee, I muttered, still muted. I wonder why I didn't come to dinner. Then my mom leaned forward. Sweetheart, listen. We talked to a lawyer. We know you technically have grounds for a civil suit. But why not just settle this between us? Quietly? Dad nodded stiffly. We'll pay for the lease termination. You can keep the Lexus. Full title. No more drama. I laughed out loud. Actually laughed. Unmuted my mic. You want to bribe me with my own car? Silence. I leaned in, voice low and surgical. You forged documents, stole a commercial vehicle, and now you want me to let it go because you're uncomfortable with the consequences? Mom blinked. We didn't steal it. You filed paperwork at the DMV with a forged signature. I snapped. That's textbook fraud. The only reason you're not already in court is because the DA is still finalizing charges. Dad's jaw tightened. This is unnecessary. No, what's unnecessary? I said. Is trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm the problem for holding you accountable. Cassie sighed dramatically. So what? You want us all in jail. Will that make you feel better? I looked straight into the camera. I want what I should have gotten years ago, respect, space, and consequences. You're lucky I haven't sued you personally yet. But trust me, I'm not done weighing my options. Then I clicked. Leave meeting. 30 seconds later, Danny texted me. You're seriously ruining our family. Hope the car was worth it. I stared at that message, then screenshotted it and sent it to Maya. Her response. Great. Threats and manipulation. Helpful to the case. But what happened next? That I didn't see coming. The DA's office called. Maya patched me in. Miss Carter, the investigator said. There's been a development. One of the parties has requested a cooperation deal in exchange for testimony. I sat up straight. Who? A pause. Your brother. I blinked. Danny? Yes. He's willing to testify that your father instructed him to retrieve the vehicle, filled out the forms, and coordinated the forgery. In exchange, he wants immunity. I swallowed. Is that allowed? It's up to the prosecution, he said. But from where we stand, your father's looking like the ringleader. And your brother's statement might seal it. I didn't know what to say. Danny, the one they protected, coddled, and praised, was about to hand our dad over on a silver platter. Not because it was right, but because he was scared. And honestly, that was fine with me. The charges came down on a Thursday. 3 counts total. Attempted title fraud. Unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Filing false documentation with a government agency. All pinned on my dad. Maya called me first. Her voice was calm but edged with satisfaction. The DA moved faster than expected. Your brother's statement cinched it. He gave them everything. I didn't ask what everything meant, mostly because I didn't care. All I needed to know was that the man who treated me like a walking ATM with a bad attitude was finally facing actual consequences. Cassie tried to play diplomat again. She left me a voice memo. I just want you to know that even though I don't agree with everything, I still love you. And I hope this doesn't ruin your soul, because holding on to this kind of anger can really block your energy flow. I sent the memo to Maya. Her response? Tell her the only thing getting blocked is a plea deal. Then came the silence. For about 3 days, it was radio static from everyone. No texts. No calls. No sad-faced Instagram stories. Just digital crickets. Until Sunday. That's when my dad posted on Facebook. Yes, Facebook. Because of course he did. The post started like a eulogy and ended like a manifesto. Sometimes your own child turns against you. Not because you wronged them, but because the world taught them to hate strength, tradition, and sacrifice. I made mistakes. But I'm not ashamed of being a father who tried. I'll take the fall before I ever see my family destroyed from the inside out. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. Boomers from church. Praying for your strength, folded hands. High school friends. Your daughter sounds like she's ungrateful. Some rando. Family should never call the cops. Blood is thicker. And one comment, from someone with the same last name as my mom, that said, Don't worry. The truth always comes out. Blue heart. I stared at the screen, pulse flatlining. Not from hurt. Not from rage. From sheer, nuclear clarity. Because for years I had been made to feel like the one who was too much. Too emotional. Too difficult. Too intense. And now? They were airing their shame to the public and still playing the victim. So I did the only thing that made sense. I made my own post. No names. No photos. Just this. When your family excludes you from a holiday, steals your car, and forges your signature to try and transfer a title, remember, you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're the first person in a long line of silent survivors to finally say no more. And if that makes you the villain in their story, let them keep writing fiction. The legal system deals in facts. Then I attached one photo. Just one. The GPS tracking screenshot of the car's final ping, at my parents' house. With the timestamp. Thanksgiving Day. 12:17 p.m. I turned off comments. Let it simmer. Within an hour, I got a text from a number I didn't have saved. We told him not to post that. I'm sorry. It was from Jenny, my cousin. Quiet, kind, always kept to herself. I replied. Thank you. But it's too late for sorry. Because here's the thing no one warned my family about. You can gaslight someone for years, until they learn how to document everything. Then it's not emotional. It's evidence. My dad took the plea deal. No trial. No mugshot. Just fines, probation, and mandatory community service. It wasn't the prison sentence some people hoped for, but it was public, it was humiliating, and it was official. He's now a convicted fraud. And everyone knows it. Cassie deleted half her social media accounts to protect her energy. Danny blocked me on everything except Venmo, where he tried to request $27 for emotional damages. I declined. Twice. Mom went radio silent. But I heard through a coworker of hers, because small towns are loud, that she told people I was manipulated by corporate lawyers, and just confused. Sure. Confused people always bring evidence, witnesses, and GPS logs. For a while, I didn't feel anything. Just a weird, hollow echo of relief. I'd won. But it didn't feel like a victory. Just like a door closing behind me. Until I got a letter. Not from my parents. Not from the court. But from the leasing company. It was a formal offer. They wanted to upgrade my fleet status and move me to their executive tier account. Dedicated rep, discounted vehicles, insurance perks. A weird amount of attention over how professionally I handled the situation. I laughed. Not because of the perks, but because they sent the letter on the same day I bought a brand new SUV, outright in my name. No lease. No co-signers. No strings. For the first time in my life, I didn't owe anyone anything. And that's when I knew the revenge wasn't the charges, or the fines, or the chaos I dropped on Thanksgiving like a legal turkey bomb. The real revenge was the freedom. No more invites out of pity. No more backhanded compliments. No more wondering if I was the problem. I was the problem, for a system that relied on my silence. Now, I was the boundary. I blocked every number. Deleted the group chat. Set my phone to auto-filter anything with the words, family, reconnect, or can we talk? And on my birthday, 3 months after it all went down, I took a solo road trip to a cabin in the mountains. Just me, fresh snow, a playlist full of angry anthems, and a tank of gas I didn't have to ask permission to use. On the last night, I stood outside under the stars and realized something simple, but huge. They took my car. They tried to take my name. But they didn't take me. I was still here. Still moving forward. Still mine.